Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to install some of these puck lights up in the ceiling. They're super easy to install, they're very thin, so you can put them just about anywhere, and they're LEDs, so they're going to last a long time. So enough talking, let me show you how it's done. Alright, so these are the lights that I picked up. This is a 4-pack Sylvania LEDs. Let me show you what they kind of look like. So open up this. You have your disc. This is, the LED light itself. And then also in the package, you're gonna have these corresponding junction boxes. These are like the drivers, what's gonna power these lights. And then you can kind of see that this end hooks into that end, and I'll show you all of that later. So one thing to kind of keep in mind if you plan to install puck lights like these, it's going to be a lot easier if you run all the wiring before the drywall is installed. If you're kind of retrofitting this and installing it in an existing home, or if you're doing it after the drywall is installed, it's going to be a lot more challenging. I think it can still be done, but yeah, it's just going to be a little bit more difficult to do so. In my case, I ran all the wiring for these lights prior to the drywall being installed, and then I just marked out on the plan where that wiring was so that I could make these marks. So I got a mark right there and then another mark right there. Those are where I plan to install the two lights, and the wiring I know ends right here, runs this way over to that light, and then runs from that light down this way, down the wall into the switch. So I know that I got my wiring right there, and if I drill 2 holes in here, I can hook the lights up. So if you're doing new construction, you kind of got to pre-plan a little bit where your wiring is in order to install these lights. But if it's retrofit, you can run it wherever you need to or wherever you can. It's just going to be a little bit more challenging. So a tool that you're definitely going to want to pick up is a hole saw, something like this. You can get it different sizes and all that. This one's nice because it's adjustable. So Milwaukee makes this one. In order to adjust it, you just kind of take this off and you can remove this drill bit and then adjust these blades on the end either in or out. And then just put this back on like that and just slide it right in here and then hook this end up to a drill. Alright, so that's hooked up to a drill. Pull the trigger, they'll spin around. So you're gonna put this bit on your marks that you made where you want the center of the hole to be, and then these blades on the edge are gonna cut the hole. And then this plastic, I guess, little cup thing kind of keeps most of the dust and debris contained in that while you're cutting. So it's actually kind of nice. If you're interested in this, I'll leave a link down in the description box below. Let me show you how to cut them. All right, so I've got this attached to the drill. I've got my mark right here. I'm gonna put this center drill bit on that mark, and then to start out, I'm just going to pull the trigger on the drill very slowly just to score a line on the ceiling. And then once that's done, once I got that scored line, I'm just gonna go full speed. I've done about a dozen of these so far, and I found out that the faster you go, the less likely this drill bit is going to wander in the middle, because it's not like you're drilling into wood or anything, a little bit more structurally stable than that. This is gypboard, so it's just gonna crumble. If this has any wobble to it, you're just going to increase the size of this center mark, and then your hole is gonna be all over the place. So I found it just best to score a line and then go all out. So let me show you how to do that. All right, so I'm just pulling it really slowly right now. If I remove that, you can see that I've got this circle outlined. So now I'm just gonna go full speed. And there we go. We've got our hole cut out. Sometimes this piece will come down with a bit. Other times the paper on the back will kind of hold it in place. So You'll know when you're all the way through though. It will start to, this piece will loosen up and then you can just pull it out. So I see that I've marked out pretty well because I got my wire right here. So now it's just time to hook up the light. Something to kind of note when either you're setting up your adjustable hole saw or if you're just purchasing a standard size hole saw is that you're going to want to set this up to cut a circle that's the size of this inside diameter right here. You're not going to want to cut a hole that's as big as this outside diameter here, because if you think about it, if you cut a hole this big, then when you go to place your light up there, it's just going to go right through that hole in the ceiling and it's not going to stay on the ceiling surface. So you want to cut a hole that's the size of this ring right here on the inside, so then you still have this lip around the outside. When you put these springs around, or when you put these springs up, they're going to grip against the gypsum board and against this outside lip. So let me show you. This is my adjustable saw and I've got it set up so that it's cutting just outside of this inner ring right here. So I still have a little bit of a lip around the whole thing. All right, so now I'm gonna show you how to wire up this junction box for the light. I'm just doing it here on a piece of scrap wire down on the floor, just so you guys get a little bit better angle of view. But it's gonna be the same process up in the ceiling. So we got our junction box, we have our ground wire, we have our neutral wire, which is the white, and then we have our power or our load, which is the black. And then I've ran 14-2 wire, which is the same thing. So I've got a ground, a white, and a black in here. So let me just strip this back a little bit. Cut some of the outside off here, peel that back. And then just cut this out. All right, so we got that showing. And now I'm going to strip the ends of the white and the black. So we got a wire stripper here. About that much. All right, so we got our wire stripped. Now, on the junction box side of it, we have a knockout on this end and on this end. So for the first light, I just gotta knock one of these out because I only got the wire running in one side. For the second light, I'm gonna have the wire coming in from this way and then another wire leaving from this way. So I'll have to knock both of those out. But in this case, I just have the one. So this just bends back and you just bend it back a couple times and it snaps off. You're gonna wanna pick up a box of these corresponding, what are they called? Plastic cable connectors. So just take one of these, and what you do here is you just push it in from the outside of the box and it just snaps in like that. And that's gonna hold this wire that you feed into it secure. So now we'll take this, the power wire, and just run it in there like that, and we'll just do it until the bare wire is in there. So I think by code you can't have any of this sheathing on the outside of the wire, so this white sheathing, I don't think you can have any of that within the junction box. Just want to put this out there. I'm not an electrician, so if you don't feel comfortable doing this part of this task, don't do so. Hire somebody that knows what they're doing. But in my case, I kind of have a general knowledge of it, so I feel comfortable doing it. Again, if you don't feel comfortable doing this, don't do it. So your lights should come with some of these quick connectors. If they don't, you can always pick some up. But basically, these quick connectors, they are just push in and then they kind of lock in place. So you would just push one of these wires in and then it would grip it and you couldn't pull it back out. These are all right, but I like to use some that are a little bit nicer. So I pick up these, they look almost identical. Let's see if it can focus there. There we go. Almost identical, except it's got these little levers right here. And so when they're flipped up, that's when you put the wire into there, and then to grip it, you flip them down, all right? So these work nice, and that's just what I like to use. If you guys are interested in some of these, I'll leave a link down below. But let me show you how to hook these up. All right, so we've got our junction box here with the 3 wires from the junction box. And then we've also fed in our supply line, the power line. This is the 14.2 cable, and that's feeding in from this side. So let's just take our ground wires. So we'll take one of the ground wires. We'll flip one of these levers up, put the ground wire in there, flip it down, and now that's connected. It's super simple. Now take your other ground wire from the supply line and put it in another one of these. Once it's in there, flip it down, and now that's gripped right like that. So we got our grounds hooked together. Same thing for the whites. Put one of the whites in there, flip the switch down, put the other white in there, flip that down, those are connected. Super simple. And finally, for the black, same thing. Flip it down, flip it down. Now we got all our wires connected just like that. It's super simple. So now that we've got all of our wires hooked together, we're just going to kind of bend them down in place so that they fit inside this box right here. Kind of like that. And then we'll take the cover plate and hook it on. Just like that. So one more thing to realize before you put this up in the ceiling, a lot of these LED fixtures will have the ability to adjust the temperature of the light. So in this instance, the lights that I chose go from 2700K all the way up to 5000K. And you know, the lower the number, the warmer the light is gonna be. And the higher number, obviously a little bit cooler of a light that you're gonna get. So I'm choosing to put them on 5000K, but you can choose to put them on whatever setting you'd like. You can see I left myself a lot of extra wire. And I think that this was the end of the roll, so I just kind of tucked it up into the ceiling. You don't need this much extra wire, so I'm just gonna snip this off, maybe about like right about there. That's gonna be plenty of extra wire. All right, and if you're really paying attention to this, you may notice a little bit different landscape. I'm actually in the room next to the workout room that we started in. This is gonna be my office, but it's still 2 lights, same installation process here. The battery just died on my camera in the other room, and I didn't realize it for a while. So that's why I'm filming this in here. But like I said, it's gonna be the same process. Hooking up these lights. All right, so we got this junction box slash driver hooked up. Now we'll just kind of set this up in the ceiling. And we got this wire coming off here, and we'll hook it up to this light. There's gonna be a groove in this side, and then the opposite groove over on this side. We're just gonna kind of line those up. You'll also notice probably on the same lights that you get that there's gonna be 2 arrows, and those arrows are gonna point at each other. That will help you line that up as well. And then you'll take this little cap and you'll screw that together, and that's just gonna secure both of the ends together. Then we'll take these 2 spring clips on the light itself and we'll push them up. We'll push the rest of the wire up into the ceiling. Then we'll rest one of the spring clips on the top side of the gypsum board, and we'll kind of get this gasket lined up on the light. And we'll take this other side, push that spring up into the ceiling, and then the light's up there. It's awesome, right? So yeah, it's very simple to hook these lights up. I guarantee just about anybody can do it. Now I'll move over to the switch, wire that up, and then we'll have some light. If you ever need to replace these lights, it's as simple as just kind of pulling this down a little bit, finding one of the springs and Just kind of securing that in place, and then find the other one just so they don't really snap back on you. And then just pull it down like that. Then you can unclip this, replace this light if it ever burns out or wears out or whatever. It shouldn't for quite a long time. These are LEDs, so they're supposed to last for quite a while. But in case you ever get a faulty one or whatever, that's just how you do it. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up. Again, these lights are super easy to install. They're super thin, so that way if you have a lot of stuff in between your floor joists that you don't have a lot of room for, maybe like a can light, these might be a perfect solution. And they're LEDs, so they're gonna last a long time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if that's the case, go ahead and hit that like button down below. That just tells YouTube that this was a decent video, and maybe it should pass it on to some other people to watch. Also, while you're down there, if you feel that I've earned it, maybe you learned something from this video, it'd be great if you could hit that subscribe button down below as well. That way you're notified every time I release a new video. I really appreciate you guys watching, and until next time,